Guys, what's going on? Nick Wood here. I am going to tell you today about the golden niche I thought I found, but I actually did not. So backpedal a couple years. Guys, the reason I want to share this story really quick is because I was told as I was learning this business model that the riches are in the niches, the riches are in the niches, the riches are in the niches. You got to find this crazy niche that no one's ever thought of, blah, 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 blah. So I tried all kinds of stuff. I tried cactus removal. I tried solar. I tried alarm systems, golf lessons, stucco, dumpster rentals, waste removal, all kinds of different stuff, looking for the golden ticket that was going to take me to the millions and millions of dollars. And I've long since come to realize that the riches are just as much, if not more, in the cities as they are in the niches. And if you go into tried and true boring niches, but you get very good at picking the right city, you can go way faster because you already know that the niche works. And now it's just a matter of finding the right city. So that is the way that I was able to make my first $1 million and have since done so since 2020. So today, I want to tell you about a niche that I thought was gold, that I thought was going to be the one, that I thought was going to make me millions and millions of dollars, and ended up being a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of resources and a lot of heartache. And I stumbled across it by accident. So here's what happened is a couple years ago, 6 years ago, I had just purchased my first course on Rank and Rent. And inside this course, they taught me how to build websites. They taught me how to do all this different stuff. They taught me how to do SEO, etc. So I was just kind of learning things. I was knocking on doors trying to sell home security systems. This is in August of 2016, or maybe July. And I knocked on this guy's door, okay? And keep in mind, I'm knocking doors during the day and I'm working on my side hustle at night. I hate that term, by the way. And I knock on this door and this guy pretty quickly tells me he's not interested, but in a lot more colorful way. And I said, okay, no problem. And usually I would go for it again and I would kind of go and go. But for some reason I was just like, yeah, it's fine. I'm not really like, this guy just doesn't seem like he's feeling it. But I looked over at his car and he had this really interesting wrap on his car. And I mean like a car wrap that showed his business. And I started asking him about his business. And I came to find out during this conversation, it's about 8 o'clock at night, right as it was getting dark in Huntsville, Alabama, that this gentleman did this service called foundation repair, where he would go in and he would take houses and he would lift them up and he would fix the foundation. And there's all kinds of different stuff that he did. And I never even heard about this because as somebody who's 22, 23, 24 years old, I owned, I think, a townhome at the time. I didn't know about foundations and that was even a service and that people had foundation problems and this and that and the rest. So I started talking to him and I said, dude, I think I can get you some leads. I think I can get you some jobs. And we started talking and he said, why don't we meet for lunch tomorrow, Texas Roadhouse at this time? I said, no problem. So I go back, I get all prepared. I print off my stuff. We go to lunch the next day and I pitch this guy the Hail Mary pitch and tell him to give me $1,000 as a startup cost and then $100 per lead. Now, I'm not going to go into why that was a mistake and the fact that pay-per-lead is a joke and the fact that I shouldn't have structured the deal that way because I had no idea. But what I want to tell you is what happened is I built that website. It took me almost a year to rank the website. And I didn't know that you could pre-sell. I didn't know you could run ads to speed these things up. And I certainly didn't know that foundation repair was what it was, and it was as competitive as it was. But over a year, I almost had forgotten about the website. I'd gotten $1,000 and leads started to trickle in. I started to get this website to rank. It started to show up at the top of the results. And I started to make a little bit of money. And thank goodness this guy was honest and we had a little bit of a deal. And that deal, of course, ended up going south because that's what always happens with pay-per-lead deals. But because of this specific city, this foundation repair that I did in Huntsville, Alabama, I mistakenly thought, trying to get this a little bit more centered, I mistakenly thought I had stumbled across gold. And I thought the foundation repair was the breadwinner. I thought it was the niche that no one had ever discovered and that I was going to go coast to coast. I was going to go vertical. So guess what I did? I went and built over 150 websites. And I'm not saying 149. I'm not saying 100. I'm saying 150 plus websites in the single niche, all over the country, because of that one city that I thought I had just cracked gold. Imagine I built all these websites, had success with this one city. I would call it marginal success. I made a couple bucks and went and built all these websites. Well, what I didn't realize is that majority of these websites would never rank because I was going up against behemoths. I was going up against massive companies with massive marketing budgets, with chief marketing officers, and in some cases, their own marketing company inside the company. This is who I was going up against. And my cost per click was many times over $20, $25, $30. I had no idea. I didn't realize how brand driven this niche was. I didn't realize that when people did this, that they would go and get 2-3 estimates and it was a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 decision. I didn't realize that would factor into how many people would actually convert into a lead on my website. And so I went and built 150 of these sites, y'all. And because of that, I got my ass handed to me. I got into deals that were not good deals. I got into cities that would take a level 9, 9.5, 10 out of 10 SEO to rank. I did not take the time to think through the niche, and most importantly, was lazy about picking the city. And what ended up happening is I ended up a couple years later with hundreds of websites inside of a niche that doesn't really even work that well inside of this model compared to so many other niches. And so the reason this is twofold here. Number one is I want to tell you guys, can this business model rank and rent work for any niche? Yes. The question is how well. I've said this again and again and again. I'll continue to say it. Okay, that's number one. Number two is, guys, make sure that you take your time when looking at the city. You take your time deciding, hey, I'm going to go into Las Vegas or Minneapolis. And I'm going to just tell you, if you can open up a map and you can see it without scrolling or zooming in, it's probably going to be too competitive. Now, not always the case, but that usually is the case. And thirdly, the lesson I want you guys to understand from this is that sometimes instead of trying to find the magic bullet niche, trying to find the golden niche, sometimes the answer is going into the tried and true, steady Eddie. Oh yeah, duh, that niche makes sense. Niches. And that, my friends, is where the money's at. So for those of you that are looking to make a little bit easier money, don't want to go against multi-million-dollar budgets across the country with companies that have venture capital and all these different things, there's easier deals. That is a really, really difficult niche that I'm no longer in, and you will not find me in.